Hi, I'm Oscar Volpe. I'm a labor economist, and my work focuses on the determinants of inequality and employment outcomes, as well as on pathways to economic mobility. To study these questions, I use tools from both I/O and econometrics, building models that analyze how individuals interact in labor markets and other types of networks, and then developing econometric tools to bring these models to data. In one of my recent papers, I analyze how employers shape workers' earnings. Prior empirical work has approached this question from two different angles. First, by measuring how much wage-setting power employers have over workers, and second, by documenting how different types of employers attract different types of workers. In my paper, I bring these two pieces together in a tractable empirical framework that examines the interplay between an employer's labor market power and the composition of its workforce. I show that this relationship matters for two key reasons. First, it's important for inequality because it gives us a much better picture of which workers are most affected by labor market power. And second, it has a key implication for welfare, which is that when wage-setting power varies across firms, it distorts how workers sort into jobs. This can lead to an inefficient allocation of labor relative to the competitive benchmark. To examine this relationship, I take two steps. First, I build an equilibrium model of the labor market. This model has many ingredients, and it accounts for unobserved differences in workers' skills and firm productivity and technology. But the core contribution is that I allow workers to make different trade-offs between wages and non-wage aspects of a job. And what this does is it establishes a key link between worker and firm characteristics such that the labor supplied to a firm can be more or less responsive to wages depending on which workers it hires. And moreover, when a firm changes its wages, the composition of its workforce can shift, which will reshape how labor is supplied to the firm. This matters because it captures how labor market power can vary both within and across firms, and can also be endogenous to changes in the environment. While this degree of variation and endogeneity is new and highly relevant for policy, it also creates some major challenges when taking the model to data. And in the second part of the paper, I show how to uniquely recover key economic quantities from data in order to learn about the distributional impacts as well as the welfare costs of market power. I then apply this approach to administrative data that encompasses the universe of workers and firms in Norway. My estimates provide two key findings. So first, I find that wage-setting power varies a lot in the economy. If we look across the skill distribution, we find that higher skilled workers tend to face larger wage markdowns. But if we condition on any given skill group, we find that market power is most concentrated among less productive, lower paying firms. And the reason is that these firms tend to attract workers who are less responsive to wages, which enables them to exert more wage-setting power over workers. This pattern exacerbates between firm inequality, and it also contributes to the gender wage gap. Second, I find that due to these disparities in wage-setting power across firms, there is a large welfare cost of imperfect competition. I estimate that about 10% of total welfare in the economy is lost due to the presence of market power.